Multifamily Mindset
podcast. Think bigger.
Hello and welcome back, my friends, to another awesome episode of the Multifamily Mindset Podcast. I'm your hostess, Cyndi Maguire, better known as Cyndi, Show Me the Money Maguire. I wear a few hats around here. I'm a strategist at the Multifamily Mindset, seasoned real estate investor, capital raiser, co-founder of Gold Bar Partners, and mentor to many budding real estate investors. If you're new here, we're happy you found us and super stoked to have you join our ever-expanding network. So if you're looking for inspiration, practical advice, or just a good story, you've come to the right place. Now let's dive in. Today we have a student of multifamily mindset. He's an investor, entrepreneur, and co-founder of Ever Forward Capital Partners. He's only 19 years old. He loves to tinker with his car, hike, travel, and enjoy family time. Please welcome out in Tucson, Arizona, Michael Rebelo. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Cyndi, how you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm fabulous. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm feeling great.
Thank you so much for coming back onto the podcast. I know you were on about 10 months ago. And so we're going to just go from where you were then and where are you now. So then you didn't have your first deal, but now you do. So tell us about your first deal.
I'd love to. So I'm going to start with all the way back when I was interviewed first on the Multifamily Mindset podcast. I was actually out of a house. We were just moving from Massachusetts to Tucson. So when I had the opportunity, I was like, okay, sure. And I did the podcast interview right from my car. And I was like, it is what it is. Fast forward October of 2024. Last year, we moved here to Tucson officially. And I kind of just looked at my mom. And I was like, okay, we need to start buckling down because we lost so much traction with just trying to move, me trying to graduate from high school. It was like, all right, now time is of the essence. We just started to grind, get on the grind, start networking, start bringing some capital in, and just really starting to get the business to basically a well-oiled machine. And then all of a sudden, give or take about 3 months prior to present day, the high caliber multifamily team reached out to us, and they're also in Surprise, Arizona as well. And they're like, hey, we're wondering if you want to invest with us with this deal. The numbers looked great. The team looked great. We loved the team. And also the area was very good. It was very favorable. 2024 wasn't exactly the best year for real estate, in my personal opinion. So my partner, my mom, she's awesome, by the way. She was kind of giving me some guidance throughout the market and just teaching me what to do, what to look out for, and just trying to help me build some solid connections. And we were just, declining GP opportunities, investment opportunities, because we just weren't comfortable with how the market was at the time. And not only that, just returns. Fast forward to present day.
Wait. So in 2024, you weren't comfortable with what part? It was not a good time to invest?
I would say it was uncertain.
Or the deals that were presented to you just didn't?
The deals that presented to us didn't make the cut. We were just going ultra conservative, especially looking for our first deal. We didn't want to get into something that was may not cash flow in 2 to 3 years. We wanted something that, I guess it's kind of a big wish to go we want a perfect deal. There's no such thing as a perfect deal, but we want to make sure we had something a solid foundation to start and build from. As well as I do, the first deal is always the hardest one. So we want to make sure it's a good one. So when we're presenting the opportunity to invest, from just moving and just knowing that expenses, just getting the house up and running, we were we're not liquid, but if there's any way that you can get us on maybe a GP opportunity to, maybe bring some capital to become an asset manager, become on the asset management team, if there's a way we can do that, that'll be great. Because Cyndi Harding's an asset manager. We took her 12-week course and it was just unbelievable. And now that we know that Cyndi Harding was the co-sponsor of this and also the asset manager, we were if there's a way that we can learn, grow, and help you guys, that'll be great. Fast forward to present day, Mom and I were able to bring, wired, we have over $600,000 into the deal, and in soft commits, about $400,000 to $500,000. So we've raised over $1 million in the last 3 weeks or so. It was basically it was accidental. But we're really happy.
It was not accidental. You were honestly prepared.
I guess so. But
yes.
We were not very well versed with bringing capital, investor relations. But we were like, this is incredible that we're able to do it. So I guess we found a hidden talent, and now we're co-GPs with them. And by the way, high caliber team, if you're listening to this, thank you again. Great team to work with, absolutely unbelievable, just awesome team, and well done on Oxford Point, by the way. So
So
if you
tell
want
us
to connect
about
with
the
them,
deal.
please do.
How many units? Where is it located?
So the deal is located out in Tyler, Texas. It's 152 units, and the numbers are just solid. I mean, just to give you a just quick piece of it, it's a 3.82% fixed rate throughout the entire hold period. It's almost unheard of, especially nowadays. When we heard that, we were like, tell us more, because that was like a huge sell point. Because you know as well as I do, the past 6 months, it's like the elephant in the room: interest rates, loan costs, like going to bank, finding a good lender. So when we heard that, we were like, all right, tell us more, because that was really favorable.
Well, Tyler, Texas is East Texas, and I know there's a lot of people, as the Californians are moving into Dallas, people from Dallas is moving out to Tyler, and a lot of retirement going on. And so I mean, I've been looking at properties in Tyler, Texas as well. So that's awesome. And then I think, no, I know back in April. You were at Peak Partnership, which for you listeners, it's the annual summit event of multifamily mindset, 3-day event. And you were on there for the 29 and under panel. And I actually thought you were in your 20s, but 19 years old. Were you 18 then, or did you just turn 19?
No, I was 19 at the time. In fact, in September, I'll be 20.
Okay, so you stepped onto that stage. Tell me about what this panel was talking about.
So we had Gavin Mancini on there. We had Ryan Twamy. We had Lucas Ravanas as well. We also had Brienne up there too. She was our moderator up there. And we basically talked about like, how did you like get into the multifamily space? How did you get your first deal? Like how to overcome discouragement? Because being young in this industry is not exactly the most favorable card in our deck. There's people that have done the business for 30 or 40 years. I mean, you have the guys that are kind of like Warren Buffett of real estate, and they're like, okay, what do you youngins know? But it really came down to, if you want to put a summary to the 29 and under panel, it's like, it's never too early to start. I mean, like the saying goes, age is just a number. If you really put yourself to like true dedication and you really start to work with this business as a real business, like doing market research, networking with high net worth individuals, building your portfolio, try and help as much as you can, providing value and learning as much as you can, regardless if you have a deal or not, you're going to become an industry expert within a year of dedication. I mean, I'll just throw this out there. I've been fully dedicated out of high school and done moving for the past 8 months. And I've learned so much just through market research, listening to other entrepreneurs, high net worth individuals. And imagine what a year could do. So if you like
Well,
dedicate a
yeah, I
year,
mean, you're bringing value to a team. So the value
absolutely.
isn't based on your age, it's what you know and what you can do.
Exactly. Like I've been thrown this curveball before. They're like, someone wants to reach out to me. They're like, hey, we want to have you on, but like you're young, and not only that, you haven't like experienced like a market downturn, like 2008 market crash, a full market cycle. And I said, yeah, that's true, but if you research and understand it, then yes, you can understand it. You don't have to experience it to understand it. But if you
But
listen to
that,
those that have been through it, then you don't need
yeah, but
anything
there's
else.
there's new investors in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s that didn't experience it financially. So
Exactly.
that
Exactly.
doesn't really matter how old you are. You just
That's
have to
right.
know about it and learn from it. So, okay.
Yeah.
There was connections and conversations that you had at Peak. What made it so impactful?
So peak partnership to me is just very valuable because when we have like the network, like for example, the Facebook group, and now I have the mentorship program, it brings all the students together. And then when you hear like, so and so is going to peak, and when you meet face to face, that is just incredible. In fact, to be honest with you, I've had more luck raising capital from strangers in person than I have virtually that I actually know. So I think that's interesting to me because like, I feel like it's the other way around. Like if you know the person, it's probably easier, but it's like the other way around, regardless of the fact. At
Well,
peak,
it's
just
funny you
meeting with
say that
people. Yeah,
because I started raising capital 16 years ago. So LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram wasn't like how people use it today. So the way I raised capital was in person, networking, meeting new strangers, and raising capital from them.
exactly.
And I know my partners, they're really big on social media, and I am trying to get into that. But I'm still old school, but you could see how effective it is. And I just,
Absolutely.
I just come to the local ones either between Houston or the Bay Area or wherever I seem to be and check out who's there. Because I mean, they're just investors and they are willing to invest in any market as long as it makes sense. So I
Definitely.
totally get that.
Yeah, but honestly, to wrap up Peak Partnership, it was great just to meet people face to face, especially those that are either in the network or just want to learn more about multifamily, and just to build like friendships and connections. It may not be just a business relationship or maybe bringing capital to a team or a deal. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's just the long-term benefits of like friendships, people lean on, listening to experts talk about the multifamily space, different facets of the business like asset management, underwriting. It's huge, especially when you go in person. It's just there's just an extreme amount of value there, that I will say.
Well, I do talk, and we do talk about that this business is about relationships. And I always say, there's a difference between a long-term relationship, like if you're boyfriend and girlfriend, versus if you live in the same town. Because I think you get more out of, living in the same town. Not that it's not possible, but yeah, I absolutely agree that meeting up with them in person at least once, if not multiple times. And we've had peak partnership 4 times, and there's people I've seen 4 years in a row, and it's just really fun to reconnect. So how has speaking and networking elevated your confidence as an investor?
Huge by leaps and bounds. So when I guess mom and I started this, it was just like virtual, like we would be on the calls. But when you're in person, face to face, it's just raw. Like there's no screen to hide behind. There's no camera you can show off. It's like shake hand, make eye contact, and just have a solid conversation. And just to have those repeat conversations, especially just, cold raising capital, like not warm, just like, I don't even know you from a hole in the wall. I've got an opportunity to maybe invest, or hey, have you thought about going bigger? And just talking to those people, either at peak or outside of peak, has just really brought my confidence from here all the way to here. Because 8 months ago, I was like down here, I was like, I don't know if I want to reach out to this person. I don't want to offend them. But now when I'm now over here, where I am now, it's like, I have an opportunity. It's either a yes or no. If you don't want it, that's fine. Who wants it? And I'll just go to the next person. Because multifamily, of course, isn't for everybody, but I at least want to be the, I guess, Paul Revere of multifamily, to go out and say like, hey, there's more than meets the eye than just the CDs, the 401, the IRAs. Like there's a lot more out there. So just speaking in person, one on stage, but two, like face to face, has just really boosted my confidence.
So when you meet these potential investors and they're just new to you, you just met them, what is the process that you go through to get them on the hook on your deal and to actually wire the money to for your deal?
Great question. So what I have found that's most effective is teaching them. So instead of just saying like raw, like, hey Cindy, do you have 50,000 I can borrow? Like that's not going to work. But if you say like, hey, like, Cindy, what do you do? Oh, I do multifamily. Oh, that's great. I buy apartments, like something like that. Get them questioning like, wait, is it a duplex? Are we talking about triplex? No, I buy apartment complexes. Then you explain the syndication process. Like, we call it a syndication. We bring people like you and I together. We pool our funds. We get a loan from the bank. We have a sponsor that signs on it. There's a team that manages the property and manages your investment. And we make sure that you keep your money and that your money makes money for you. And that's literally how I just pitch it. And they're like, that's interesting. Are you working on anything right now? Sometimes I will say that I'm working on something. Like, for example, I'm looking at a deal that might potentially pan out, give or take. But if I have something that fits, like I'll throw like a return. Like, for example, Oxford Point is giving a 16% internal rate of return. I'm like, hey, if you want a 16% return on your investment, 16 to 20% return on your investment, is that something that might be favorable for your financial goals? And it's either yes or no. I'm like, okay, cool. If you don't mind, let's get on a call, or maybe we can just stay in touch. And if there's something that comes down my pipeline that might fit your goals, that'll be great. And if they say yes, and this is where the ballsy thing comes in handy. I'm like, so let's say you have a property that fits this return that comes through my pipeline. How much do you think you might be putting in as an investment? And then I just wait. I just wait for them to say something. And they'll be like, well, I don't know. I have to pull some funds. I don't know if I'm ready to invest right now. No worries. The opportunity is always there. You have my number. If you want to reach out, if you're ready to invest, by all means. I may have something available. I may not. Of course, depending on the market, I don't know. But I'm always available if you want to chat about investing. And great. Now, if they say, I might have 50,000 in like a CD and up to, oh, well, 50,000, give or take, maybe 75,000. Great. So if I have a property that meets these returns and these metrics, you're probably putting in about 50,000 to 75,000. Yeah, about maybe 50,000. All right, cool. What I'm going to do is we're going to exchange contact, phone number, email, and I'm going to give you a quick rundown of our conversation. And then maybe we can schedule a Zoom call. We can, keep in touch. And if there's anything that I can do to help you, if you have any questions about the business, I can certainly walk you through them. And then that's it. We just make the contact, and then we continue on from there. So it's really a gutsy thing.
How many touches do you have with them until they finally wire money in?
So I want to say about 4 to 5.
Okay.
Just to make sure.
Like in a few weeks or 5 weeks or a month?
So give or take on the response time, of course, I always say this, you can't underwrite human nature. They may respond, they may not, where they were like in person, they're all like excited. And then all of a sudden we try to reach out to them, they ghost you. But in a perfect world, it's usually about a week to a 2-week time frame that usually you start to get traction. Fully wired, I want to say now, of course, the accreditation process takes a little longer. This is if it's a 506C. 506B, if you've really developed a relationship that's like, that meets the SEC standards, I would say about 3 to 4 weeks with these people to say like, to get them fully wired, walk them through the portal, try to answer questions, educate them, stay in touch, and just be transparent. I'd say 4 weeks at max, 2 weeks at the least.
Okay. So if someone was listening and they want to go from, I want this to, I'm doing this, what's the important step they need to take today?
So there's a huge difference between needs and wants. So if you want it, it's kind of like I'm going to dedicate just a little bit here. I'm going to jump on this call, or it's like, I don't want to, do I want to do this right now? But versus the need, it's like, okay, so let me look at my financials. This is where I could be in 5 to 10 years. This is where I can be in 5 to 10 years. Like just do like a Ben Franklin balance sheet. Like, is my W-2 really starting to pan out for what I need? Yes or no? And just start doing some numbers. Like, how much cash flow from multifamily do you need to get you out of your job, to put a roof over your head? Like, how much do you need? And just be honest with yourself. If you want to be truly dedicated, I kid you not, just try to write as much as you can down and try to just soak in as much knowledge. And also have a strong why.
What are those that aren't looking to replace their W-2 and just for me, when I first started in real estate investing, I just wanted a second stream of income because as an engineer, you never know when you're going to get laid off or look for another job, or, if you work in manufacturing, when it's going to be shipped off to another country or another state, especially if you're from California. Right. So what would you say for someone like that?
So if you don't want to replace your income, but at least have an extra stream to come off with your W-2, as like a just in case, I would say if you're really starting to pursue it, do your due diligence as much as possible on multifamily and also teams. Because I've heard the horror stories of investing with different teams and, their investments haven't panned out in 2 to 3 years and they're starting to get cash flow after like the 3-year mark. So if you really want to figure out where you could put your money, do your due diligence with the team, what the market is, ask as many questions as you want, because if you're putting savings into there or maybe a a previous 401k into there that you can self-direct and put into multifamily, then just, I would say, try to learn the business as much as you can. I wouldn't say like, to a GP standpoint, but to understand where you're putting your money so that when you have your W-2, you don't have to, like, I guess, necessarily worry about it. So it's like you're not going in blind. Try to be as educated as much as possible if you're going to invest.
Okay. So what is Ever Forward Capital Partners working on now?
That's a really good question. So, of course, we're trying to bring as much capital as possible. We do have quite a bit of capital starting to come into the pipeline. As of right now, as our own LOI submitted deal, we do not have that right now. But we are starting to get our acquisitions ramped up out here in Tucson and Phoenix. Those are our target markets. Because we're boots on the ground out here. Phoenix is an hour and a half away from me, so it's not too bad. But right now, we're starting to bring some capital into our company, and we're just starting to get ready to deploy in potential co-GP opportunities, those that might have an extra spot on a GP position for asset management or maybe acquisitions. So we're starting to look for a deal. We're starting to look for a deal team and starting to look to put some capital to work and just learn and grow with others.
Okay. And last, what's the biggest lesson you've learned so far through your journey?
The biggest lesson that I've learned is utilize your network. Like, utilize as much knowledge from others as you can. I mean, thanks to the Facebook group with MFM and just to expand, other groups, your network is legit your net worth. I mean, I'm not bluffing when I say this. I have over $2 billion of contacts in my phone where I can go like, hey, I'm in this rut. I need some help. Like, I don't know how to do market research on this specific market because I can't get blank. And they're like, okay, I know a sponsor that's out there, or let's walk it through. Like, don't get me wrong, you can look at Marcus and Millichap, you can look at YouTube University all day long, listen to Neil Bawa, but when it comes down to your network, they've got the knowledge. Like, for example, things that I don't, vice versa. Like, we can help each other out. And that's what I see as the beauty of the network. Like, that's the most valuable lesson. If you can build your network and have something to lean on when what hits the fan, I think that's really going to help scale
What
your
hits the
business.
fan?
Just, I guess when shit hits the fan.
We could say those words on this one.
That's true.
Okay, Michael, how can listeners find you?
That's a great question. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. You can also scan this QR code. You can look me up at Everforward Capital Partners or just Michael Rebelo. My name's also at the bottom corner over here. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
but some are just listening, so if you want to spell it out for them.
Yeah, sure. Or so Michael and then last name Rebelo. You can find me on LinkedIn. Facebook is definitely my playground, so I'm pretty easy to find on there. In fact, I'm just starting to get to 2,000 followers on there. So if you want to connect, send me a message either on LinkedIn or Facebook. I also have a YouTube channel, but I'm working on that. But those are my big main platforms.
All right. Well, thank you, Michael. And thank you, my friends, for tuning into the Multifamily Mindset Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our episode with Michael today. Please join us again for more stories, insights, and inspiration. Until then, keep thinking bigger and get better every day.
Multifamily Mindset Podcast. Think bigger.